My name is Akindele Akinyemi. I am the National Co-Director of the National African Business Association. We are based in Inkster, Michigan. That's a city 10 miles west of Detroit, Michigan, the Motor City. Inkster is known for its products of great sports athletes and one of the first Motown acts, the Marvelettes. If you guys are not familiar with the Marvelettes, I advise you to take a look at them on either YouTube or Google them. One of the first wonderful acts come out of Motown under Berry Gordy back in the 60s. Hey, I'm an educator. I've been one for 17 years, but I'm also, again, the National Co-Director of the National African Business Association. You may ask yourself, what exactly is the National African Business Association? Well, we're an African-based business support group. We're an empowerment organization. We help people with African-based businesses in terms of startup capital, business planning, grant writing, focus, SWOT analysis, financial literacy, the whole gambit to empower African-based businesses here in the 21st century, right here in the United States. Currently, we have 3 chapters across the U.S. We have our chapter, of course, in Michigan. We have a NABA DC chapter serving the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. And last but not least, right here in the city of Houston, we just recently launched our brand new Houston chapter officially this past Saturday, and we're very excited about having a presence here in the city of Houston. I'm not a stranger to Houston. I lived here for the last couple of years. Love the environment, love the energy of how Africans are opening their own businesses, but we noticed that there are some things that we need to work together on. And one of the things is having a voice, a collective voice, economically in business development, to show people in our community that we too have a voice at the table when it comes to moving our community forward. So that is the reason why National African Business Association exists. We exist because we want to make a difference in the 21st century. We want to learn to connect our businesses, not just here, but back home in Africa. We want to connect our businesses. We want to connect our businesses in a 21st century way so that we can be effective. We want to be effective here in the 21st century, and that is why NABA exists. We would love to really continue to push this movement forward of empowerment to make things happen. Oh, well, brief background about little old me. Okay, I'm not little, y'all. So I'm an educator by profession. 17 years. I spent 16 years in K-12, middle school, high school, English language arts, social studies, reading specialist. I've been doing that. Love kids. I love working with young people, mentoring young people. I've been a curriculum coach. I've helped design programs for new schools. I help design programs for other educational programs in the field of global education. Currently, I'm an academic advisor at one of the community colleges up north, and love what I'm doing, love working with young people, especially our people from Africa, to help them see themselves in a different light. So I love what I've been doing for the past 17 years. I will not trade it in for the rest of the world. So what we do in NABA, and I'll explain to our viewers here what's going on in the city of Inkster. So what we did in the city of Inkster. First of all, let's give a little bit of background about Inkster for those who are here in Houston. Inkster, very small city, 6 square miles, 25,000 residents. We sit next to 2 major airports, which is Detroit Metropolitan Airport, Will Run Airport. 10 miles west of Detroit. It is the largest African American population in Western Wayne County. So the thing what we try to do in Inkster, why did we pick Inkster instead of Detroit? We picked Inkster because we saw the economic needs and the opportunities that we can do to galvanize an African immigrant community. Now, a lot of people have kind of written that off. Oh, we'll never get Africans together. We'll never build bridges. We'll never do this. We at NABA do not believe in negativity. We do not believe in pessimism. We believe in optimism, and we also believe in getting the job done. And for the last 3 years, we have been getting the job done. What have we done in the National African Business Association in those past 3 years? Well, guess what? We sit on 5 boards and commissions in the city of Inkster. Inkster Downtown Development Authority, Inkster Economic Development Corporation, Inkster Tax Increment Finance Authority, the Inkster Library Board, and last but not least, the local business advisory committees. What are those boards and committees about? I don't know what those boards and committees are about. Well, here's an example with the Inkster Downtown Development Authority. The Inkster Downtown Development Authority, any DDA, anywhere in the United States, and they go by different names based on where you live. Any DDA is responsible for the creation and guidance and development of its downtown area or central business district. So in the city of Inkster, I'm the chairman of that Inkster Downtown Development Authority, and we have 4 of the Nigerians that sit on that board with us. So we have 5 Nigerians. We have a voice at the table in that city in terms of direction of downtown, what a downtown should look like. What are we doing? We're putting together an incubator, a technology and business incubator called Inkster Ignite. We're putting together a proposed cultural arts district where we can have fashion incubators. So my African women who are looking at this program, my African sisters, you're interested in the fashion business, you need to come speak to me directly about setting up fashion incubation, jewelry, fashion, textiles, things of that nature. For those who are into graphic arts, graphic design, building, drawing murals, you have the opportunity in the city of Inkster through a cultural arts component to make that possible. Why do we sit on the Inkster Economic Development Corporation? The EDC, that's economic development across the city of Inkster. You want to create so guess what? You want to open up an African market, a co-op grocery store. You want to open up a pharmacy. You want to open up a nursing home. You want to launch a bank. You want to launch a credit union. You come through us. And 4 Nigerians on that Inkster Economic Development Corporation. That's power. That's power for us and gives us leverage to allow us to have some say-so at the table with our city officials. Only 4 Nigerians have been elected in the state of Michigan in terms of being elected. And I happen to be the 4th one that's elected. There's only 2 Nigerians elected anywhere in the state of Michigan. That's me. I sit on the Inkster Library Board, and another gentleman who's a city councilman in one of the suburbs in Metro Detroit. We're the only 2 that's elected in the state of Michigan, okay, that are of Nigerian descent. What do I do on the library board? I'm the vice president of the library board. I work with my colleagues on the library board. We're looking to build a brand new library for our residents in the community. And guess what? Nigerians and Africans have a voice at the table with me because we can do workforce development, financial literacy, we can do trainings. Hey, you want to speak, you want to teach Yoruba or Igbo, you want to teach those languages, you can come directly to the library. We can make it happen. Partnerships and collaborations is what NABA is doing. Outside of those boards and commissions, we have a partnership with Junior Achievement. Never heard of Junior Achievement? They're one of the nation's oldest financial literacy organizations. They've been around almost 100 years. We have a strategic partnership with them. And we have partnerships with other key higher education partners, key technology partners to make all this possible in the city. So we're using Inkster kind of like a municipal incubator to connect businesses, not just here in the U.S., but back home in West Africa, and trying to collaborate with the 2 to create a synergy of a tax base, putting people to work, and moving the city forward in our region. I'm involved in a lot of things. I'm a political consultant. I'm also the national political director for the Nigerian American Public Affairs Committee. That's our sister organization in NABA. They're our official political action committee. Why do we have a political action committee? Because we need representation to represent our best interests. in the community. How many Nigerians, we're here in Houston, how many Nigerians are elected to city council right now in Houston? How many of us are elected as a state rep, state senator? How many of us are elected to Congress? How many of us are elected to even a school board? We have Nigerians to go to ALEAF, ISD. How many of our people are elected to the school board to represent our children, represent our community? So why do we have a political action committee? It works simply like this. NABA is the business and economic policy component for our organization. We bring the business people together. The business people address their concerns. We lobby on behalf of those businesses to show them representation. Those politicians who support our cause, guess what? Our political action committee through NAPAC is going to support them when it's time to be elected. Kind of a win-win situation. So we have that merit, that strategic marriage put in place. And NABA is the only African Business Association anywhere in the United States that are registered lobbyists on Capitol Hill. So we have my National Public Policy Director. He collaborates with us to see what kind of policies that we can introduce from the African community perspective to move this process forward. So we have those kind of issues. I'm also involved in a lot of mentoring. That's something I do personally. I've been doing that for the last 20-something years. Mentoring with young people, mentoring young adults with their career goals, with their things. On the side a little bit, I do a little relationship advice type stuff for fun. But I kind of passed the baton to my national spokeswoman out there in Maryland. She is absolutely phenomenal when it comes to this whole relationship thing and fighting against domestic violence and women empowerment. So I do those things on the side for fun, but most the other role I have is being this national political director. I really like to sit down and work with our community in terms of getting them engaged in the political process the right way, not so much being Democrat or Republican, but paying attention to the public policies that's going to help empower our community for the 21st century. Next 5 years, hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, we know it's a long process. City of Inkster, Michigan, we're going to turn it into an African global hub of commerce. What does that mean? That means GT Bank, GT Bank, Tantalizers, Chicken Republic, these African-based businesses, these Nigerian-based businesses should have an imprint on the state of Michigan and the city of Inkster to help rebuild the tax base, to help rebuild the economy, to build franchises, put young people to work, so that we can reduce the crime. We don't reduce crime by having more police per se. We reduce crime by increasing the economics. And when we increase the economics and give people a skill set to work from, everybody wins in the community. NABA is leading the charge of bringing, again, technology and business incubation to our community. You want to do a startup? Guess what? You want to do a startup, design an app, cybersecurity. These industries are growing right there in the state of Michigan. They're growing nationally. We want to make Inkster a cyber city. There should be startup businesses in Inkster dealing with cybersecurity. And in the next 10 years, you'll see Inkster as a smart city. What does that mean? Kind of like a smart city where everything is connected with ICT and ICTs and Internet of Things and all that good stuff, like they have in San Jose, like they have in Amsterdam. Those are considered smart cities. So that's what we're pushing towards, a technological hub of commerce to connect Africa to the United States by way of the city of Inkster, building the tax base, putting people to work, understanding a strong workforce, and most importantly, increasing the literacy in the city of Inkster so that we have a voice on matters that means the most: economic development, business development, technology development. These are key things. Culture, arts. Women empowerment is a huge one that we focus on also. How come micro enterprises do small businesses? Guess what? We have African women who are small business owners. Yes, we want you to join NABA. Why do we want you to join NABA? Because we can help you create a better product if you give us a chance. Why in the city of Inkster? Because in the city of Inkster, within the city of Inkster, in terms of African business development through our African women empowerment, it's a win-win situation. nationally, black women, whether they're African American, nationally, black women lead the pack in terms of building small businesses in our community. Ladies, you are the sustainable engine that's hot right now. So we want to continue keep the fires burning. While cultivating your talent. I want to point this out to your viewers. The National African Business Association. There are 6 points. 6 that we focus on in terms of development. We focus on STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. A STEAM industry, okay? A STEAM industry that is going to cultivate technology and arts. We focus on cultural arts, a creative economy. I talked about murals and graphic design and fashion incubators. Allied health. Everybody that comes in my office want to be a nurse. Okay, that's great. We know nurses are not going away, but how come we don't have a medical incubator in terms of a clinic, in terms of a hospital, in terms of a nursing home? So we have to take that nursing degree at a much higher rate. Agricultural and renewable energy. There are areas in the city of Inkster. There are areas here in Houston in the African community. There are areas where solar energy is going to play a huge role in reducing electric costs. Agricultural in terms of moving products, agricultural products between our respective states to create an economy for our African food markets and things of that nature. Okay, micro enterprises, global education. Okay, global education is very key. City of Inkster lost its school district back in 2013. And so we have a key strategic partnership with one of the upcoming schools. That's Pathways Global Learning Academy. They are a brand new charter school. They've been authorized by Grand Valley State University to be a K-12 institution. They are the official flagship school for the National African Business Association. And they share our vision of having global education as a key catalyst of redesigning that city's economy and future development. So these points that I am discussing with the viewers out here, these are the key points that we are looking at to rebuild our community. And I think those things are very key because oftentimes, I want to point out, oftentimes we have a lot of African organizations, they focus on a lot of the social, cultural, partying type things. And I think those things are well. But can you imagine can you imagine that your association is, you guys are partying on a Saturday, we're having a great time, we're eating, we're drinking, but we're actually raising money at that party for scholarships so our kids can go to a community college or a 4-year to finish their nursing degree, to finish their doctorate degree. We have to start thinking at a much higher velocity and much higher pace if we're going to be taken seriously in this country as a community. And that's what we're trying to do in the city of Inkster in terms of making things happen. And we want to use Inkster as a model to take to DC, to bring here to Houston, to help reinforce those cultural but also economic values that we see fit. Being intelligent about financial literacy. Why is financial literacy so important? Because oftentimes we come over here, we buy a big house, and our ladies, our wives, are buying $1,000 purses and $1,000 shoes, and everybody goes in debt, and you live in paycheck to paycheck. That is what we call insanity, and it is a thing that we have to stop. So NABA, we do the polar opposite. We're going to teach you how to manage your money, how to manage your wealth, so that way when you buy that home and you make an investment on that home, first of all, before you even buy that big house, you need to ask yourself, do I really need that big house? That's the first thing. The second thing is, what are your long-term goals and what are your long-term investments to make all these things possible and make it work? So we teach in our community wealth building, but we also want to practice what we preach through our NABA plan, which is the plan I talked about with those points. The issue of immigration, I know everybody asked that question. Oh, how do you deal with immigration with Trump? Well, it's like this. We're dealing with the issue of immigration by reminding our colleagues in Capitol Hill and our state governments and local governments, and I'll tell you what NABA is doing exactly in a couple of ways. First thing we remind them is we need immigrants to help rebuild our city. The end. This whole thing that Trump is talking about he's talking about deporting 11 million immigrants. That president is not going to deport 11 million immigrants. That's virtually impossible. That's not going to happen. How come that's not going to happen? Because you have these groups like the United States Chamber of Commerce. The United States Chamber of Commerce is opposed to that. That's a very powerful Chamber of Commerce here in the United States. Those groups like that are very opposed to that. So what do you do in terms of immigrant? What we do in the city of Inkster, we plan on creating a immigration task force through our Inkster Economic Development Corporation. We want to create an immigration task force, kind of do some feasibility studies and some data on how many immigrants we actually have in the city of Inkster, how to impact it in terms of business and personal development, and see how we can create a welcoming community. I didn't say nothing about sanctuary cities, a welcoming community to the city of Inkster in terms of welcoming our immigrants and making Inkster a very immigrant-friendly community. Why do we have to make it very immigrant-friendly? Because we need immigrants to invest in homes. We need them to raise families. We need them to invest in small businesses to help rebuild that city's economy. So we are dealing with the immigrant issue economically, and we're dealing with it academically. It's very important that we create a business network, a strong business network for those students who are seeking work. Those students may need, and this is, I want to share this, is very important. Let's say, for instance, we have a student that's interested in nursing, that's interested in being a doctor, but they want to learn patient care. So I think it's important, if I own the facility where I have patients, I bring that person in as an intern, and they can work under me, and they can possibly even earn a stipend for as a paid internship. Things like that, I think our community needs to really engage in. You want to go into agriculture? Well, you need to be working at an African food store if you want to go into agriculture. Learn the products, and then and then from there, kind of partner with universities like Michigan State University or 4-H. And see, this in the African community, we got to start getting out of our comfort zone and really seeing what the world has to offer in terms of resources. 4-H, that's a very old organization. A lot of our people don't know anything about 4-H. 4-H, they specialize in civic education and even urban gardening, agricultural, whole nine. Wonderful organization that our community need to be partnered with, and we do have relationships with 4-H. We're trying to set up an Inkster Farmers Market. My community coordinator, excellent young lady, Nigerian woman. She is on the ground trying to set up this farmers market. Guess what? We have a partnership with the Eastern Market Corporation. Eastern Market in Detroit, one of the nation oldest farmers market and organizations in Metro Detroit. We have a partnership with them. NABA has a partnership with them through our Inkster DDA. So immigrants, that's a way for immigrants to get involved in agriculture, to get involved in nursing, patient care, things like that. So we're making it more of an immigrant-friendly community so they can come to us for resources, so we can patch them, so we can do one-on-one matchmaking in terms of job security, in terms of job and entrepreneurs and things of that nature. But at the federal level, we address immigration through our public policy team we support the EB-5 investor visa, hands off on H-1B visas, hands off on the green cards, hands off on the F-1 or J-1 visas. And more importantly, let's design our own visa. Let's lobby to develop our own visa to empower Africans from the continent. We've been working on that as NABA. We've been working on that for the last 3 years with a proposed visa to just do that. It's just a matter of sitting down and speaking with our lawmakers on Capitol Hill about how to implement it and how to introduce it. So we are on top of the immigration issue. I tell all my colleagues on the right side of the aisle, I need immigrants to help rebuild my city because you guys are not doing anything to help me. So we have to work for ourselves and support one another. Again, first of all, thank you for having me. we want you to join the National African Business Association. Hey, send me an email personally. info@NABAempowers, NABAEMPOWERS.org. info@NABAempowers.org. Start there. Send me an email. Send our team an email, and say, hey, listen, I heard you. I heard your voice. I heard your message. How can I join the National African Business Association? Hey, call me, 313-656-9177. That's my personal cell number. I never ever give that on television. But because I'm speaking to my people today, 313-656-9177. Call me, say, hey, listen, I live in DC. How can I get with your DC team? I live in Michigan. How can I join you guys in Michigan? I live in Texas. How can I join you guys here in Houston? How can I be part of this very powerful 21st century based organization? Listen, you come to NABA, you're ready to work. You commit yourself, you're ready to work. I believe in partnerships and collaborations. We believe in hard work. We believe in consistent work. This is not a social group. I have to let your viewers know that. We're not a social organization. We don't party or anything like that. I mean, we have a good time, but we don't party or anything like that. We are strictly about getting the job done to make things work. We don't mind taking a person who has a dream about becoming a singer, about running their own television program. We don't mind helping you cultivate those dreams and making it a reality. And we've been doing that for the last 3 years, making things a reality. We do not play. So when you come into the circle of the National African Business Association, we are very, very serious about our work. And we want you to we believe in accountability, integrity, and trust. So when you step into the circle, those are the things we look at, and we want you to work hard and work smart. You do those things, I guarantee you, when you get to the finish line, we will all win together as one. Please come join the National African Business Association, and I guarantee you give me 5 minutes of your time, and the rest, you have a lifetime of success, prosperity, and peace.